Good morning, boys and girls. It is I, the voice of your conscience. Welcome to another one of the two Amigos, as Tony is in Norwich, and our apologies to everybody in Norfolk this morning. Chris, I have to say you're looking rather swish, fabulous, windswept, and interesting. How are you?
The comb worked.
Get the hell out of here. Who knew? Who knew?
Yeah,
So,
good.
yeah, well, I have to be honest, I'm a little bit hungover. In fact, I'm probably unfit to land my Harrier jump jet that I normally take for a spin at this time of the day because I was out at Villa Park last night.
How did that end? Was it 2-1 to Villa?
Yeah, 2-1. I managed to witness all three. No, I witnessed two of the goals, but I also witnessed an awful lot of Prosecco. But yeah, it was a great club. Great club. Fantastic seats, right on the halfway line.
Just bear with me one moment. I've got to tackle a bit of naughtiness in the house. One moment.
It sounds like two dogs doing something obscene. A bit of naughtiness. Oh, look, he's had to clap his hands. You know when it's serious.
Yeah, so there's eight paws fighting at the moment, and I'm trying to work out who's getting the better of it.
I thought you had one of your Filipino houseboys under the desk again.
No, they're due round to do the cleaning later.
Oh, you call it cleaning. So, what do you think of Tottenham Hotspur?
That's what happens when you face the real European champions, isn't it?
Didn't want to say anything. Didn't want to say anything.
There's all these happy clappers singing European champions. You'll never say that. Well, we won't say it really for a number of years to come.
Chris, could you chuck a bucket of water over those two? Because I know people are going to moan like hell.
Just bear with me one moment.
Okay. Dogs are great. Dogs are better than humans. But anything that interferes with the sound on these things is a complete and utter disaster. And my tolerance for what dogs get up to is insane. I like well-drilled dogs, but if it interferes with this thing, you lose.
Banished to the naughty room.
Banished, where they will continue attacking each other out of earspace. So what? Yeah. So PSG. I didn't think they were particularly wonderful, but I thought Spurs were particularly awful. I didn't think it was a wonderfully gripping game.
Men against boys, wasn't it? And again, there's too many problems and not enough answers. So Vicario, he's just a liability, isn't he? When did he ever come close to saving a single penalty that he's faced? When they were putting balls into the box. He's the only keeper, as we've said before, who's like a Dracula. He's afraid of crosses. He's got no conviction. And what are we doing in a Champions League game where you've got Van der Ven, who I've got to say, I don't know if he's got problems at home or something, but the last few games he's been terrible, taking goal kicks. And for me, again, we've spoken about it more than once, but Jed Spence at left back doesn't work. He's unable to pass the ball to his own player. It's just
there were a number of things with the defence we're kind of drilled down but won't, but Spence's passing accuracy is poor. I bang on about passing accuracy all the time because this is a game of football where you pass the ball from one of your players to one of the other players on your side, and a lot of our players simply can't do that reliably on a regular basis. Vicario, you mentioned the spot kicks. That's only part of the problem. You mentioned the crossing. That's only part of the problem. He is a lousy goalkeeper.
Yeah,
and I'm allowed to say that because I watched the game. What is this? Oh, I've got my... You'll never guess. I won't go into too much detail, but that's my kimono jacket, would you believe? And it's just infuriating. Against PSG, 59%. Now, an outfield player with 59% passing accuracy, you'd be like, you'd want to get that sort of number back from like an attacking player in the final third. He's a goalkeeper who invariably has to distribute the ball without anybody near him.
Yeah.
There will be occasions where it's a bit harum scarum, a bit hustle bustle. But this is a guy who is normally the ball is like an inanimate object. And nearly, because 50%, we all know how numbers work, don't we, kids? You toss a coin in the air, it's 50%. Even if you get heads 1,000 times, it's still 50% chance it'll be heads or tails the next time you flip the coin. That's numbers. So 59%, he's marginally better, 9% better than flipping a coin. It's not good enough. It really isn't good enough. Van der Ven, has he got problems at home? Has his wife left him? Has his boyfriend stormed out? We don't know, but something's going on because his football has gone backwards, and this is for the first time ever. So everybody gets a break, but again, not the required standard. Romero single-handed. I mean, I asked after the PSG game, who was he playing for?
Do you know what? I would be happy to accept the most minimal of offers. If we were to get 50, 60 million quid, he's out the door tomorrow because the man's a liability. We all rant and rave. We hold false hope that he's this generational world-class player. He's none of those. He's a very average footballer who occasionally can put in a half-decent game against the lesser opponents, put him on the world stage, and he's undone every game. And it's how can you have him as the captain, yet he's never wielded out in front of the press to answer for our fragilities and our naivety? It's always some other poor victim. I tell you what, let's put a 19-year-old out. Let's put Archie Grail Bergville to face the media, and that fundamentally is wrong. He is the captain. He should be going out there and saying, yeah, it didn't go right, it didn't. But we always have that wet lettuce Vicario, bored of listening to his rubbish. And
well, he thinks Vicario thinks he's Winston Churchill. He thinks he's a great orator, and he's not. What he is, he's great at producing spin. I mean, in another life, and maybe because he's a kid, he's a child. In another life, he will become a politician. I wouldn't be surprised to see him run for mayor in his hometown in Italy. But can I just say, 7 minutes,
or even Argentina.
Exactly. It's seven minutes in, and I was polite enough to let you carry on speaking. Otherwise, it would have been 6.5 minutes in. I'm gonna play the race card and tell you that we can't have a captain in an English Premier League team where the common language is English. If we were in League One or La Liga or wherever, I would switch it to those languages. We cannot have a captain who doesn't speak English sufficiently well enough to go in front of the press without a translator. Not interested. And there was a chap on the Spurs show, which I actually don't mind. I have to say, not the show itself. I don't wish they a meal or anything, but I mean the Spurs show on Facebook. And he said to me yesterday or the day before, does it really matter that he doesn't have sufficient English? Well, I don't know, mate. I mean, I don't know how you communicate with people. I use the English language. Some people don't like the way I use it, but I use the English language because we're English. And apparently that's a massive racist, fascist, bigoted thing to say these days because we should all be speaking I don't know what. But yeah, I like English. I mean, the road signs are in English. If you want to know what time it is, you have to speak to the policeman in English. It's not a massive deal. It's just a normal thing.
You're in Birmingham, aren't you?
Oh dear. But no, it's where the spoken language is Urdu. But exactly. But the thing is, he can't communicate. And yeah, I get the whole thing. Harry Kane goes to Germany, but look, I've lived in Germany. The Germans are making an allowance for it, blah, 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 blah. But this guy, he's no good. He's no good. And if he can't communicate, it's a political appointment. Just as Sonny's captaincy was a political appointment. Tottenham need to stop doing this. Lewis family, over to you. I'm sick of it.
And this is where we've spoken about it before, but this is where the quality of the squad is lacking. Because you go to the right side, Pedro Porro, he's not a good player. He's susceptible to be targeted because of his small stature. Every once in a while, he puts a half reasonable cross into the box. But even in that PSG game, when we had a free kick late towards the end of the game, and it was him and I can't recall, Simmons standing over the ball, and Porro took the effort, and it was nowhere to be seen. And
just on corners, while the memory's fresh, he successfully crossed the ball twice out of 7 attempts against PSG. Now, I know that isn't shocking in the scheme of things, but it isn't good enough. I know that phrase is tedious, but there needs to be a standard, a cut-off point. And if he can't cross so well, if he's not outstanding at crossing, why is a right back then permanently out of position? And why is his passing accuracy so poor? Because his, again, was, I think, 58% or something. These guys need to be better footballers.
Remember when he made his debut and Tim Sherwood absolutely roasted him on Gillette Soccer Saturday, said this bloke is not for the Premiership, and everybody got really upset because Tim had been so scathing, nasty and horrible to a Tottenham player. Maybe he was right after all, because I watch this bloke week in, week out, and I think he's not a liability, but he is not of the level required for a team who has aspirations to mix it with the big boys.
Well, I don't think Spurs. I think Spurs have lots of aspirations, but empty jargon isn't anything to be cheerful about, to be blunt.
And then we went into the midfield. I thought for once there were slight signs of encouragement that Graham Bergvall brought a little bit of energy to the scene.
Well, can we just hang on a minute? I mean, I watched the game, and this isn't like confession time or anything, but I'd had a drink. I looked at the numbers after the game because a number of people were saying, "Oh, we need to get more from Bergvall," and I find it extraordinary. I'll just throw this in as well. When players have been injured, because these are like grade A racehorses, these are like fine athletes we're dealing with here. Whatever you might think of them, and they are high roller athletes. Players get injured. Kudus is one, Bergvall is another. You cannot expect them to come out firing immediately. But Bergvall, I have to say, he only touched the ball 17, 18 times. Now, what he did was pleasing. Wasn't outstanding, but it was pleasing. But I have to say, I felt a bit shortchanged by the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, from an energy perspective, some youngsters with some legs on them who've got the ability to make those forward runs. As the more I see of Bentancur, he's a very average player. He's not a great player. He's not a world-class player. He doesn't get into any top 10 side. He's competent at pushing the ball backwards and sideways. When
but if you speak to your average Tottenham fan, he's a legend in his own lunchtime.
Well, aren't we all?
I mean, he is. That for me, and I'm not looking to beat him up because I don't hate him. I don't have an agenda or anything, but he's mediocre.
Yeah,
I watched Villa last night. They had a couple of players who didn't do anything wrong. They were really good on the ball. That you could see their brains were fizzing. They were, they just didn't get anything wrong. Villa weren't exceptional, but what they were was very well drilled. And we have players who don't tick any of those boxes. We don't have any players who don't get anything wrong. And we have a number of players who aren't particularly well drilled. And then if you want to see that on a Venn diagram, you've got Jed Spence and Mickey van der Ven walking off, ignoring Thomas Frank.
Yep. Yeah.
Come on. I mean, there's just there. We've been saying it for years. There's something endemic. There's something in the water. I don't know if some, Arsenal fan Red Indian buried bones and shirts when they built the new gaff, but there's something rotten in Denmark, and it's not Thomas Frank. They need to. It predates him, and they need to sort it out. I mean, I genuinely feel, and I know this may get some people's goat up, but I do believe that with human beings, and this goes against the modern way, oh dear, so insensitive, but I do think there's something about the sort of wartime sergeant major screaming at people and pinning them against a wall with a hail of abuse. And you do get results. You do get actions by shouting at people. in my ordinary life and in my professional life, you need to be abrasive. Otherwise, you don't get anywhere. Because I tell you something, one thing I can't cope with is telling somebody for the umpteenth time, don't put your hand on the lit gas ring. If you don't get it, I don't care how stingy your hand is. I need you to stop causing me aggravation by constantly going, really hot. So you need to scream at people. I mean, I remember I was crossing the road with my child, and who stepped out without thinking. And there were people around me, and I said, what is going on in your mind? I was like, goodness me, what a horrible parent. But didn't get run over, and to the best of my knowledge, still hasn't been run over.
Mm-hmm.
Now we need to sit down and talk about how dangerous traffic can be, darling. No, don't do that, because it doesn't work. It might not work, and this is serious. Getting hit by a car, which is going to probably kill you, is something that you need to stop. And I think somebody needs to come into Spurs, and I don't know what it is. Is it the money? Is it the status? But they need to get a grip on these people, and we can't have characters who aren't up to scratch, like Vicario, like Romero, waltzing around like they're the big I am, because they're not giving us the goods. They're not delivering.
We need a complete reset, and we need to actually carry good our DNA, because at the moment you wouldn't want to stand alongside any of those 11 in battle on the battlefield.
No, you couldn't rely on them. You couldn't rely on any of them.
When it's getting a bit heated and it's getting a bit angsty, you know that none of them have got the appetite. And that's why I always say that these things start and finish with the leadership. So you've got to be preparing, you've got to be conditioning. What we're crying out for is...
But there we go. There we go. You've hit the nail on the head. The leadership.
We need Roy Keane in that midfield. We need a Patrick Vieira.
And what do we have? Do we have a Roy Keane? Do we have a Vieira? No, we have a leadership group that likes to cuddle each other before the game.
And this whole leadership group sickens me. It's pathetic. It's virtual.
Well, I think it's a cry for help. I think it's a clear piece of evidence that these nitwits, these pampered, effeminate lunatics, are being allowed to have a say in something which is not part of their gig.
What you mean, the idiots?
You do what the coach tells you to do,
exactly.
And when he screamed at you because you're so bloody stupid, you didn't get it the third time, you say, all together now, thank you, boss. That's how it should work.
Running in the asylum, yeah.
That's how it should work. You get screamed at, and then when you eventually have demonstrated you understand what he was saying, you say, thank you, sir. Thank you, boss.
Yeah. Yeah. But
going through the numbers on the PSG game,
can we flog Richarlison while his stock might be high based on one appearance and one goal? Let's sell him now, quick. All offers.
Put the doggy in the shop window and get shot. The numbers on most of the players. I did a player ratings thing after the game. I gave obviously Kolo Muani. He got 8 out of 10 because but everybody else was 4. And I looked at other people's ratings, because you always do. Don't lie to me that I was sitting in my isolation booth doing my player ratings. No, everybody looks around, and people go 6s and 7s and 8s. What were you watching? What were you watching?
I still maintain there's a player there in Kolo Muani. You don't play 31 international games for France and somebody pay in the past 100 million quid for a bad footballer. Again, it's about the goal. But he took both those goals well Wednesday night.
But will he do it against Fulham on a wet Sunday morning?
That's what he's got to prove. But the biggest kick in the goolies will be if Frank reverts back from that formation the other night and goes to the trusted 4-2-3-1, because we're crying out for some creativity and innovation, and maybe 2 up front is what we're looking for and what we need to go with. Will he do it? I don't know. The whole starting 11 surprised me that Kudus dropped. I don't know if that was injury or clearly it was tactical, because he was looking to break things up and go very defensive. But then Simmons, that person that we're believed is going to be the number 10, the creativity, again, he was dropped. So I wasn't quite sure. It was a surprising starting 11 that I wouldn't have foreseen.
No, look, I'm happy to agree with you, which is very generous of me. But I think that he hasn't got any choice.
No,
and you, I think we can get into a thing where we're kind of over analysing. Oh, why has he done that? Well, do you know something? We weren't there at the training. We haven't seen the players during the week, and also, what other bloody choices does he have? I mean, like you say, the idea that Bentancur gets picked for a game for a first squad appearance, and I put it on the Substack. There's more than a pinch of the Harry Winks about him, and the same with Papa Matasar. More than you look at the passing maps of those guys, and I know some of you drift off. Oh, he's talking about stats again, but if you look at the passing maps, and it's always sideways. I know you can't play every ball or fizzing into the 18-yard box. I understand that. But by the same token, that's kind of what you're supposed to be doing. Your default setting should be that when you get the ball, you're looking to move forward, you're looking to attack, you're looking to get the ball in their net. But we don't do that. And it's not a Frank thing. I don't totally endorse everything that Frank has done since he's been with us, but I refuse to stop saying nicely or screaming violently. Finished 17th, lost 22 games. Last time out. And the only real difference, and by that I mean a player who has caught the eye, is Mohamed Kudus. So until something changes, until he's got a greater, it's like I mean, I made 1,000 analogies, but it's like this business of the chef. The reason the chef makes great food is because he's got great ingredients. You know, even your dumbest chef can kind of switch the oven on, know what time to put the stuff in, when to take it out. But if you don't have the ingredients, you're not going to make a great meal. It's as straightforward as that.
Yeah.
And yes, you can get awful chefs who have fabulous ingredients. What's his name? Romeo Beckham. I'm looking at you. You know, but you generally speaking, if you have excellent ingredients, you will produce excellent food. And Thomas Frank doesn't have those ingredients. And it's frustrating. It gets me angry and, you know, all the usual. But if he had a tremendous squad that hadn't been interfered with religiously by Daniel and Donna over the years, then we'd be in a better position than we are. I know it's his job to get more out of them, but he is a football manager and not a member of the Magic Circle. So that's where I stand, you know.
But moving forward, we've got Fulham at 8:00 on Saturday.
Can't wait.
I'm guessing we don't like 8:00 kickoffs. A bit of rain and grease on the pitch. I'm guessing we won't like that either. But this is a really important fixture so early in the season because our home games have been so terrible this season, with us being the second worst in the whole league or something for home results. He's got to go out.
We've been diabolical. We've been absolutely diabolical.
Did you see that joke I sent you the other day about Joe Lewis being investigated for betting because he apparently puts bets on Tottenham to lose at home? That's why he's made billions of pounds throughout his career.
Yeah, I mean, it's too predictable. It's far too predictable. I mean, Fulham. I don't know. I mean, we think of Fulham as being rubbish. They're currently in 15th, but Spurs are in 9th. There's really a point, is there? No, a point? Sorry, there's 4 points between us. But we're in that vast gulf of clubs between Sunderland in 7th down to West Ham United in 17th, who haven't really done very much this season.
They could put put Arne Slot one step closer to his P45.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Ange Postecoglou being appointed for that one, and I think he'll do very well in Liverpool. I think they'll take to him like a duck to water, or a fat fool to football. But Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, I do find it interesting, or rather, it makes my heart sing a little bit. Just on the old Appy Hammers, um, currently in 17th. I would love to see them go down. Surely Leeds United have sufficient about them to get themselves out of the drop zone.
No, I disagree. I think Nuno Espirito Santo will keep them up. He'll deliver the football that isn't entertaining, isn't pragmatic. But you look at Leeds, they're a yo-yo club, aren't they? You look at Burnley beneath them. Do they really have enough? I'd suggest not. And you look at Wolves, well, you'd need to be a miracle worker to get something out of them. 2 points after 12 games. Never in Premier history has somebody stayed up with so few points. When are they both due to play Tottenham to help them out?
Well, yeah, when's the doctor arriving? No, Wolverhampton Wanderers are a curiosity. I know Wolves fans, and they tend to be decent enough chaps, a little bit disconnected from reality without being unkind. But I think they're looking forward to going back to the warm embrace of the Championship. And they can have their rivalry reignited with the Baggies. But, you know, they don't play great football. That's the real problem. And Fulham able to distinguish themselves from the rest of the anonymous morass that's down there? Newcastle United, Nottingham Forest.
Oh,
yeah, as you say, Liverpool in a world of pain.
Well, you say that. We've got 3 games in 7 days. So we've got Fulham Saturday, then we're away at St James's Park on Tuesday night, and then we're at home to Brentford next Saturday.
Is that a cup game?
League game.
Wow. Okay.
So you can do that live on the Substack, and all of your beloved fans can heckle and realise that the Christmas pantomimes come early. I know
Heckle and Jekyll.
Oh yes, he has.
Yeah. The Substack is growing. I can't work out why. I think people are consuming their sports differently. I think they've been doing it for a while, which is why I'm there. There's definitely a sense of that people are getting away from the old model, the old gods of certain distributors. And the business, you have to wait to read articles once you just click on a link. I don't understand the merit in that the amount of people who are going to accidentally click on something and then earn you 2 cents or something, I despise it with a passion. I tell you what I will say, I was coming home from the football, I was a little bit hungry, and I bought, and this is not a plug, I'm not getting paid for this, a Massimo Cornetto chocolate. It's like a chocolate filled croissant. My God, they've got heroin in them.
Yeah. Well, there are various ways to import and export such substances.
Yeah, whoever devised that. These ones, I bought a pack of these as well because they weren't very expensive, a couple of quid. And this is like a donut version. When you get it out, it is a bit of a car crash. But goodness me, those croissant things. Papa's got a brand new bag, and it's filled with the chocolate lubricated croissants. I would endorse the product enormously. As I say, not being paid for that. It's not a promotion. I don't know where you buy them, but I got them from some strange little shop near me. And yeah, maybe I'll have one sober in a couple of hours and go, my God, what the hell? But no, absolutely a nectar of the gods. The food at Aston Villa last night was insane.
Good.
Really, really good. Wasn't fine dining, but it was very, very well presented basic stuff. Lots of sort of finger food, which is my favourite kind of food. And they had a chicken burger. It was like a Kentucky style thing. A brioche bun with salad and loads of drizzled things. And sort of not spice bag, but like, I think they were probably oven fries, if we're being honest with ourselves, but presented with peppers and onions and a bit of 5 spice. Really, really good. I didn't have any, but the mac and cheese blew people's minds. And at half time, these little pies, they were the size of mince pies, and they were inside, they were a lamb and mint hot pot. Just honestly, I mean, maybe I haven't had anything nice to eat for a long time, but they were. Have you got rain there? Have you a storm?
No, there's 2 military helicopters have flown over so low that the whole house is shaking. and
oh wow,
we got big old things. Maybe the end is coming. Who knows?
I thought I was having a seizure. Another one. I thought I was having a seizure the other week. The back of my building, they're building everywhere in this part of Brum, and it felt like my arm started to go, like sort of shake, and it was my left arm. So I was thinking, no, this is not happening. This is not happening to me. Not happening. I've got a lot on today. Going to go to the shops later and buy some croissants. And I put my arm down, thankfully, on the other rest on the chair, and I could feel it there. I thought, oh, that's all right. But that still shouldn't be. No. This is going all over my body. So I stood up, and I didn't think any more of it. And then I met somebody in town, and they said to me, "Did you feel that this morning?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "They've been drilling. They've been putting the support, the foundations in, and apparently all the buildings around here were just moving." But yeah, it's quite disconcerting when you get that.
This relationship with Mason Newman's bringing you some nice things, isn't it? Otherwise, you'd have been sat at home watching the Villa game on your illegal fast stick.
Which was great service, and I would certainly recommend, Chris. Thank you very much for your address. I'll put into the description of this video. Yeah, Mason's good stuff. I mean, we get on. I mean, obviously, I am his bitch. There's no two ways about it. But yeah, nice to go up the Villa.
So you've been enjoying plenty of Mason's juice.
Yeah, and his juice is going to be available. You can buy his juice in cans and buy the cask pint. What did I do? Oh, I tell you who I've signed up yesterday. Dutch Barn. Ricky Gervais's vodka.
Yeah.
Which I definitely would endorse and recommend. We're gonna run that as a free pour. So that's gonna, if you come in and just say I want a vodka and tonic or I want a shot of vodka or whatever, that'll be the one we serve. We're not doing Smirnoff or any of that rubbish. Yeah. So they're good stuff. What was the other thing? Oh, Jack Daniels. Went out with a guy with Jack Daniels last week. Yeah, we got a little bit excited because we didn't realise quite how much we were drinking, because he took us to a couple of bars to show us the product and how it's supposed to be served and all the rest of it. And I'm not talking about the Tennessee sipping whiskey. I'm talking about their gin they do, and the Woodford Reserve, and then they've got some very high-end tequilas and a rum as well. And yes, we came very close to having to call an ambulance at the end of that night, because you have two large gins followed by shots of tequila, shots of rum, and a Jack Daniels and Coke just to have as a side issue. And before you know where you are, you've ordered a couple of pints, and you need to phone your mummy.
That's my ideal night.
Yeah, well, yeah, you would have endorsed that night by ordering some chicken from somebody, but with one tooth in his head. But no, yeah. So we're definitely going upscale, and it's curious. There's you can find football to watch in the city centre, but there isn't really a football bar. So we're going to step in and fulfil that gap, which I'm very pleased to announce. Good evening.
The Tottenham Supporters Association headquarters via Birmingham.
Well, do you know something? Most of those groups tend not to be particularly very brilliant in my experience, and I've experienced a few because I've moved around. But this will be a friendly away pub. It'll be Villa during the course of the season. But if you're coming to Birmingham, plug, coming to Birmingham, Mason Newman's Gunmaker's Arms, 5 minutes walk from Snow Hill, and you'll be able to, on match days, the football will be on all of our TVs, and we've got this new system, which is new to me, this system where you put big tellies together and you create a widescreen across the 3 or 4 TVs. It's broadcast across the whole thing. So that's going to be quite sexy. But we will always have the TV on with the sound up loud and proud. None of watching the game with the sound muted, music on, all that rubbish. Football takes priority, never be taken off because of rugby or Formula One or anything else. It's football.
That sounds bloody good, and I look forward to coming down with Tony V and savouring the experience.
Yeah, bloody right. And there'll always be, this is the other thing, a promotion on.
I think
always be a promotional, because if you go, I went to a pub the other day and I just thought, I'm gonna have a beer before I go home. Popped into this pub, $7.80 for a pint of neck oil, which was nice. It was all right. It wasn't the best pint of neck oil I've ever had, but $7.80. And I said to the guy, "Have you got any deals on?" And he just looked at me like, "Well, the lights are on, but we will always have a deal on. So if you have to leave the house because your Fire Stick has been captured by the authorities, or you haven't been able to pay your extortionate Sky Sports subscription, you can come to a bar such as ours and say, have you got any deals on? Yeah, we're doing this pint at a reasonable thing. You be able to get a pint for £5. No two ways about it."
So I took Mrs. B to Dubai recently for her 50th birthday. Joke you not, £15.50 a pint of Heineken in the hotel.
How much?
£15.50.
Wow. I had a friend of mine who used to go to Monaco for.
Wasn't Eric Dyer, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, mate, sure he couldn't come back. No, and he said that he sat somewhere. I had it in Italy, and I remember sitting down because my boss bought us both a pint, and it came in this fabulous fluted pint glass thing. I'd never seen anything like this. Is going back 100 years, and I drank the pint. And being the nice guy that I am, really, I said, "Do you want another one?" And he said, "Go on then." And so I flagged the guy down. He brought this thing out. The bill was a telephone number. And those pints, and this is going back 30 years, those pints were £15 or £18 each. And all he could tell me was that it was from Germany. didn't even have a name. Didn't even have a name. It was nice, but the cost of booze is eye-watering. How was Dubai? Did Mrs. B get her value for money?
Yeah, it was nice.
Did you pack your Cuban heels and your 10-gallon hat?
Definitely, yeah. It's never going to win any cultural awards. It is very fake and plastic. But if you want a nice hotel, good food, and guaranteed weather, it's worth a try. Would I rush to go back? Probably not.
That's interesting, because I've heard similar things. I've got a friend of mine who lives in Dubai, who is a musical engineer and DJ and all that sort of things. He's very happy there. He's got a lovely wife. But I know lots of people who don't live there, who've been there, and all I'll say is, so the ones that love it and go, "Oh, Dubai's amazing," all speak like that. And the people that say, "Yeah, it's great, it's fabulous, but great to be home, make yourself a cheese sandwich." It's I think there's a lot of not very real about it.
Yeah, well, 20 years ago, it was a sandpit in the middle of nowhere with a few camels and goats wandering around the planet.
Very busy goats, I've heard.
So, yeah, and if you actually look whilst you're out there, the Emirati don't actually do any of the hard work or any of the graft. Most of the country relies on India, Nepal, and other countries to roll up their sleeves and get on with the hard work.
Yeah, and then when they've done their hard work, they get their passports back and they're released. I understand. Yeah,
and Daniel Levy thanks them for their service.
Yeah, but I wonder whatever happened to Daniel Levy. When you look back and you remember kids you were at school with, and you think, I wonder whatever happened to him. I wonder what happened to that guy. No, don't care.
I see Adolf Hitler's come to power again during the last 5 days.
What?
Yeah, some bloke whose dad decided it would be a good idea to name him Adolf Hitler has now won one of the elections in one of the African states. So he's now the
wonderful
president / prime minister.
We're going to put everybody in a hole in the desert. Vote for the 18 party.
Yeah.
Dear me. Wonderful. Couldn't happen to a nicer part of the world, I have to say. Well done them. Well done them.
Well, you're buggered, aren't you? Quite literally. With the Labour Party's recent announcements, the houses around you have 14 kids plus more in them by long.
Well, the people I immediately thought of, because I generally speaking think of others before myself. Never was a more humble and honest man. No, I immediately thought of those good people who manufacture
mattresses.
No, Durex and contraceptives is the word I'm looking for. who are suddenly going to be experiencing a massive nosedive. No, absolutely. This area is going to be this. There will be a boom. We've got to be careful with the language we use here, but a literal. I think they'll call it the kaboom. When they look back on this, it won't be boomers and zoomers, but the kaboomers, because there's going to be a lot of local people in this part of the world who are going to be relishing the removal of the cap. Rachel Reeves has been great TV.
Recently. When she was called out about the taxes on motor vehicles, she said every year when your car goes in, we'll record the mileage. And somebody pointed out, well, for the first 3 years of ownership of a new vehicle, it's not required an MOT. And she was like,
Yeah, detached from the real world. The thing that got me was the fact that there isn't. I mean, you got people like Beth Rigby. Can I ask you, here in London, but not a single. A lot of these media types are quite left leaning, and they've been tearing her to pieces. And I watched a radio. No, I didn't watch a radio thing. I watched a TV thing on a video on online. And they basically said to her, "You're making it up as you go along. You've lied, you've cheated, you've stolen." And she just goes, "Yes, well, we are looking to be inclusive towards blah." And she's just reading it off a card. She's not actually responding to any of the questions because clearly she can't.
No.
But, welcome to an upgrade on Diane Abbott. That's what I say.
Or the Conservative leader, where she absolutely rinsed her about we apologise to interrupt your breakfast cereal for X, Y, and Z.
Well, in the words of the Sleaford mods, you voted for it.
I see. Getting back to footballers, we could talk about politics all day long, but people will probably turn off because that is the appetite for this nation for the current mess we're in. But
I think Dave's going to win Love Island. That's where my money's going.
The lad that you've featured on one of the Substack things, Samu, they've sent forward to the Spanish lad who plays for FC Porto. Got another one last night. There's murmurings that, 6 goals in 10 league appearances this season, murmurings that we're going at 100 million. I can't see it myself, but
we need to do something, and I'm going to keep shaking that tin till somebody puts a coin in it. This business with Frank's this, Frank's that. I get it. I hear you. I actually agree with all of you because we're not getting what we should be getting out of him. But this line about will you get paid the big bucks, which certainly works in the commercial world, certainly works in my background. You can't just phone it in. You have to deliver. But football managers, they're given the players that they're given. And Arne Slot, I would say, is definitely a good example of a manager who needs to stop making excuses. If he didn't pick the players that Liverpool have brought in the money that he spent, then fine, he needs to say that out loud.
Yeah.
Now, if he's not allowed to say it, or if he doesn't feel comfortable saying it, that's for him to deal with everybody saying, when does Ange Postecoglou start? That's his job to mop up those inquiries. But we need to see the Lewis family come January, not in the summer, come January. And how you get nice things, right? Here's a tip. I could get thrown out the magic circle for telling you this. You take a lump of money, right? And you go to, for me personally, just keeping it on you go down to Selfridges, not the pound shop. Yeah, not the Netto, not the Londis. You go down to Selfridges and you say, "Can I have that bottle of red wine on the thing there, please?" And the guy goes to you, "That's £65." You say, "Thank you very much." You give him the money. And do you know, they don't care. They don't care if you're going to jump off a bridge, if you're going to fly to Dubai, or if you're just going to sit in the park and get pissed and drink it out of a straw. You have the money, you have the choice, you're in control, and you get nice things.
Mm-hmm.
So don't tell me, don't bore me, don't humiliate yourself, you at home. Don't humiliate yourselves. But January's very difficult. No, it isn't. Take a lump of money, walk past Londis, walk past Netto, walk past all the crappy shops, and you go into Selfridges and you go, "Can I have that one, please?" And the guy will give you a beautiful coat. The guy will give you a lovely hat, fabulous pair of shoes. Curiously enough, they don't sell fridges, but that's a story for another day. But the point being is, get on with it. You can't sit there. You can't sit there in this wonderful stadium going, ooh. Oh, and I tell you what, Villa did last night. Fantastic light show before the game. Fireworks and the flames. They had these flamethrower things. They were mounted on the side of the pitch. Do they have them at Spurs?
We're exceptional with light displays, people's mobile phones illuminating to music. It's then when the product gets on the pitch, it all goes Pete Tong.
Well, they had these things. I'm not joking. I mean, I think men are children at heart, but they had. I was like, why can't they have flames? These are amazing.
You know what makes
them up about 50, 60 foot in the air, and it was fire. I mean, they sort of fizzled out into nothing. But they were orange and fiery, and they were tremendous.
What makes it more difficult is the fact that a few miles down the road in North London, you've got Arsenal atop of the Premiership by 5, 6, I don't know, 8 points, and then they're also top of the Champions League group. And there were many saying, "Oh, yeah, they're not that good. Bayern Munich will come into town." Arsenal did a number on them the other night. What was it, 3-1?
Yeah, did a number is about right, mate.
Yeah, that's what happens when you properly invest. So, of all the players, when Arteta arrived at Arsenal, he is only left with 3 who were there when he joined, and that's Bakary Saka, Martinelli, and one other. He has got rid of all the junk, offloaded it to bring in players completely fitting his vision. And people are, but they only score from set pieces. Couldn't care less. They're very effective at what they do, and we are so far in the distance from Arsenal that the gap is massive. And
I think really you've struck on Arsenal's problem there. They don't have in their armoury a Ben Davies.
Yeah.
I mean, just think what they could have done. I mean, it's all very well. Yeah, you're top of this, you're top of that. You're thumping bloody Spurs at a canter. But what if you had Ben Davies? I don't think they've thought it through, really. You know, I really don't.
And we're still erring and ahhing about giving Basuma a new contract to protect his value. Shot Corrie's not played all season. Who's going to pay anything for him? Just get rid.
Well, I don't get the logic of protecting his value because I don't think there's anybody interested in buying him.
No,
it's
there
like
you go.
Building a luxurious garage and not actually owning a motor car. You say, well, I'll build that and then I'm going to save up. And that's what Spurs have done. You've got this fabulous stadium, but you're going to say something nasty now. Why can't you be happy? It's who cares? I mean, I haven't been to Villa Park in a million years, and I went there last night and it actually felt great. Oh yes, I was in the best seats in the house and all the rest of it, but the stadium itself was good. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with it, but you wouldn't associate, and the football was watchable. You know, I mean, forget everything else, but it's a nice setup. It is a nice setup. They were playing Young Boys. Do you remember who we played?
That's why you wanted to go.
Well, that's the only reason.
Yeah,
but they were going berserk. They held their flags up and they go, you know, all that jumping in unison. And when the Villa first goal went in, they got very lively and they were throwing bottles and anything they could get hold of. And apparently at half time, one of them lobbed a seat onto the pitch, which is all the fun and the fair. But the coppers came out. They called in the riot squad. So it had all these guys with the helmets and the batons and all the rest. And they didn't speak for it took them, I think, about 20 minutes into the second half before they piped up. And the Villa fans were singing Who the Flipping Hell Are You? And a few rounds of We Forgot You Were Here. Because they behave like scolded schoolboys. But I mean, you build something. I get it. But this takes us back to the Pochettino thing about the house but no furniture.
Mm-hmm. Is that why Tony's not here today? Was he your third guest last night and he got himself in a bit of trouble?
Tony was amongst it with the young boys. No, Tony just messaged this morning. I think, it was to both of us, and he's in Norwich. presumably collecting a prize from Sale of the Century. I don't know.
That's code for my bail conditions have been breached. I'm HMP Wandsworth. I'll see you on Monday morning.
It's either his bail conditions or his bowel condition, one of the two. I'm not sure why anybody would want to go to Norwich. I've been in and out of that.
I had the mustard's quite nice.
Well, there was a time, and I think they've done away with everything now because everything just is full of palm oil, which I presume doesn't really taste for anything. It's essentially a filler. But there was a time I remember as a kid, and they had the Roundtrees factory there. And I think as a visitor, it was quite a novel thing that you could just smell this sort of Willy Wonka sort of like smell of candy. And some days it would be very noticeable, like lime or strawberry or something. But I'm not too crazy on how that might have been to live near it. I was in Norwich when I was very small. This is a football story. My mum pleaded. I was told this years afterwards because obviously I wouldn't remember. My mum pleaded with my dad, who was quite headstrong, not to go into town, and he said, "No, we'll be fine. I've got a pushchair with me for goodness sakes. I'll be fine." And of course, Norwich were at home to Millwall, and where he lived was right by the Carrow Road. It was on Carrow Road, in a one up, one down thing, and the Millwall fans broke into, and this is going back 1,000 years, obviously. Broke into a shed in which were stored tractor wheels because we're living in Norfolk, aren't we? And the Millwall fans rolled tractor wheels down the hill towards the city centre. And my dad got home and she said, "Are you okay? You okay? It's been all over the news. It's been all over the news." And he said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Millwall fans and tractors." And he goes, "Oh yeah, one went past us." And apparently he was going up the road with me in the buggy in the thing, and the tractor wheels were coming down the other side. That was how football should be, how it used to be. Living on your wits, violence around the corner.
And I thought that the tractor boys were the Ipswich fans, but obviously I was mistaken.
No, they got that wrong. I met a butcher in Hereford, a lovely bloke, and of course you're very close to that part of the country, which is Wales. And I had my Tim Sherwood gilet on, and he said, "Oh, I went to see because he was from Nigeria." He said, "I went to see Spurs in the Cup." He said, "And you beat us 3-0 or whatever." And I said, "How old were you then?" He said, "Oh, I was 16. I might have been 15," like this. And he was recounting. You could see him going through his head. And he said, "We got the coach down. I had to borrow money from my uncle and all the rest." And I said, "Those were the days, eh?" And he goes, "Yeah, nothing like it." He said, "We had to run at one place. There was fans coming at us there, and there was police coming at us there." And I said, "Yeah, different times, wasn't it?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Every game I went to," he said, "I hadn't had a good time if I didn't come close to shitting myself." And that's how football was. No, 150 quid a month subscription sat in your front room saying "Parcel lemonade."
And that's what we're lacking. You go to the Tottenham Stadium now, and it's got all of the atmosphere of a library, or where you go to visit your mum and dad when they've passed away, and you get to have a look one more time. The atmosphere is so flat and miserable. There is nothing to be excited about, and that's what we've really got. That's why we so badly need a big performance to lift the morale and lift the spirit, because they are the 12th man. But at the moment, there's nothing to get people out of their seats.
It's all down. The burden of responsibility is not on the fans. The burdens, and which is why, and they never bloody work, but they don't listen because they think they're really important, which is another modern disease. But all of these fan groups, supporters trust, blah blah, are all absolutely unnecessary, totally unnecessary. If people could read and write, they'd know how to get to the stadium. They know how to buy tickets. All this stuff. They don't need all that. Just need to be more intelligent. But the burden of responsibility is on the football club to deliver exciting football, which gets you standing on your feet and going ooh and ah.
Yeah.
And at Tottenham, we have traditionally not had particularly spectacular football for decades. I'm not just talking about the last 2 decades, but I'm talking about since the 80s, I would suggest, when we were cup side, when we used to win silverware, which apparently is now was a sign of entitlement, even talking about playing for cups, because all the money, all the pressure is on the league and not doing, really winning things, but hitting targets. And the atmosphere has been absolutely crucified. And the only people making the noise are in the cheap seats, and they don't really get heard. So, and it was the same at Villa last night, just, to say again, shoehorn that in. But yeah, the real fans have been totally marginalised. And I go back to it again and again and again. But Tottenham led the way with this. When those computer-generated not autistic, more autistic, but yeah. But those architectural imaginings of how it was going to be, they airbrushed all the big blokes out with short hair and big coats because they're threatening, and what they wanted was effeminate men with children, and which presumably they picked up from the borrow a child shop, and carrier bags, wandering around taking in the leafy. Get rid of all that.
Yeah, there was a lack of Stone Island jackets, but too many.
I want policemen on horses wearing uniforms by Hugo Boss and Stone Island, so we know where the good guys are. And I want them swinging batons into the heads of little old ladies on the platform at Seven Sisters. And I don't want any discussion in it. I want bring back violence, bring back unacceptable behaviour, and bring back swearing.
More Bovril and bags of roasted chestnuts in the stadium.
Sell peanuts. Peanuts. Can I have a latte? No, you can have a Bovril, or you can have some peanuts, or you can get out. And 100%. If you don't behave yourself, there's a copper over there, and he hasn't punched anybody in the face for 20 minutes, and your number's up. That's what we want. Back to basics.
We need to move away from a multi-purpose entertainment arena.
No time for that.
Realize that we are a football club, and we need to go back to the old days.
If you want multi-purpose. Right, get yourself a Stanley knife, get yourself a crowbar, anything you can inflict a bit of damage with. That's what we're recommending. This is our guidance to the Lewis family.
Actually, let's go back and get Oliver Skipp and Harry Winks back so that we can have the good old time feel of what mediocrity was like when we at least had a decent stadium to watch him.
Let's go back to the halcyon days where if the game wasn't that good, at least you know that Eric Dyer was probably... Christ, you nearly exploded then. But it was. But at least you knew if the game wasn't great, Eric Dyer would clamber up the seats in the West Stand,
you out,
looking to iron out somebody with his brother. Yeah, no, just absolutely surreal. But they've lost touch, and the business of the people going to something to be entertained. Right, sounds wonderful, sounds plausible, sounds like it's not a bad thing. What's wrong with you? But I watch a movie to be entertained because I know a Tom Cruise movie, generally speaking. Well, the last Mission Impossible was dreadful. I want explosions, rat-a-tat-tat, machine guns, Nazis popping up, all that, loads of that, please. Zombies, all that, loads of that. I don't go to Spurs to watch to be entertained. I watch Spurs to embrace the tribalism. To embrace it's us versus them. And when you hear the Italian coaches talk, I don't like him, he's not really entertaining. We'll go to the opera.
Yeah.
But they talk about we've come here to die. We've come here to kill the opponent. There's something gladiatorial and magnificent about football, and they've got rid of it. They've pretty much got rid of it.
I suppose you're quite excited at the moment as the festive period falls on us in less than 48 hours. So your favorite film returns to the screens. Ho ho ho! Now I've got a machine gun. Good old fashioned entertainment. Who would not have wanted to have been at the Nakatomi Christmas party?
Nakatomi Plaza's coming, baby. It's the Christmas movie of all time.
Except for good old Sergeant Al Powell, who all he wanted to do was eat his donuts.
Well, all Hal wanted was a Twinkie bar.
Yeah,
that's all he wanted. That's all he wanted.
Until some bastard started shooting him from out of nowhere.
Ho ho ho!
Yeah, that's entertainment, and we watch what we've got now. It's not entertaining. It's a hard slog. It takes a lot of effort to get on the train and commute an hour each way, watch the game, blow a couple of £100 for the benefit of it, and come back and have anything positive to say about it.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, and you know, you combine that with, and you know where he's going now, don't you, kids? But you combine that with the morons that are talking about the game, and you've got the Chuckle brothers, the Spectrum twins, and Chris Chromosome Cowlin, and all the others. And there's ones we can't even mention because they could jump off a bridge, and then we'd be blamed for that. But these people are not the full shilling, as your mother used to say to you. They're not the full ticket, and they're going, "Oh yeah, it's brilliant." Oh boo, no, I didn't like that, and it isn't worth listening to. It really, truly, utterly isn't worth listening to. But they're a perfect synchronistic fit with the product, because 90% of the time the product isn't worth watching. And we get them on here. We get them on the channel here. I haven't been to Spurs in 20 years. And they're looked down their nose at by people who are half their IQ.
I think some of the comments always make me chuckle, specifically after the last one. Somebody suggesting that we thought the signing of Richarlison was a good idea. No, when did we say that?
No, there's some really weird stuff. I mean, if you bear in mind that we both, I think, speak clearly when my microphone isn't playing up, you can hear us.
And I'm not sitting in a cafe with the coupling and jangling of. Hey, guess where I am Monday morning? We can review the Fulham game from me at Terminal 3 at Heathrow Airport, and I'll sit specifically next to the cutlery person. Yeah, no, next to the person jingling and jangling the cutlery.
Well, I had what would you call it? An epiphany, I think is the word. I think I said that right. I went into a Wetherspoons. Most of my stories are pub related, but I went to a Wetherspoons, and I couldn't believe there was a trolley where they scraped off the food and they put the plates in one thing and cutlery in the other. Obviously, prepping up for the dishwasher guy in the cellar. And I thought to myself, what the fuck? Can't you just put things down gently? Because there was this cacophony every time they came near the thing. And I said to this guy, I said, mate, could you any chance you just put the plate down? You know, I know you don't care if they break, and you know it's probably a shitty bit, but it's just so noisy. And I was listening to something on my phone, and I couldn't hear it. And he looked at me and went, "Oh, sorry." And then I thought to myself, "Are you mentally ill? Why don't you just move?"
Talking.
I went into that same pub a few weeks later, and I was about to sit down in the same spot, and I thought, no, Matt, no, you're going to get very upset. And the rest of the pub was packed, and I walked out. But yeah, that's great news. If you get in touch from the airport, that would be amazing.
The two other things that wind me up about the current Tottenham stage. One, the Boogle, the bloke playing his trumpet before the game.
More enforced atmosphere.
Yeah. But the one positive is that Ange isn't there, so we don't have to listen to that God forbidden Robbie Williams track anymore.
Were they playing it?
Oh, they used to at the end of the game.
Oh my God, dear me. Well, one good thing at the Villa, last reference, you'll be pleased to hear, everybody, was since the death of Ozzy, they've been playing Crazy Train. No, sorry, Mr. I think is it? Yeah, they've been playing Crazy Train. They did. I think it was for the beginning of the second half they played it. So you got dun, 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 dun,
but I assume they've got permission to play it, unlike Tottenham, and just use anybody old song.
Unbelievable. Well, this is the weird thing and I don't think. I mean, it was in the Sun, so I know they get battered by everybody, but I don't think the guy who wrote or co-wrote "Can't Smile Without You" understood the Performing Rights Society, or what they're called now. And we've got it for the pub. Every business has one of these things. And you pay for your ticket, and it means you can play whatever you want. You can do videos, whatever you're going to run with. But if you don't, they come round. There must be something. I think it's probably Company's House. I think once you register with Company's House, you get hello. This is a very nice song you got playing. Have you got your ticket, please, for the PRS? And if you don't have it, you're screwed. And I cannot imagine that Tottenham Hotspur don't have it, because it's only 100 and something quid a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather not pay it, but, you know.
Bearing in mind, Daniel Levy counted every paperclip at the club and reversed people personally into their car parking spaces. I'm sure he was up before the games at night with his YouTube music playlist.
Hey, aren't you the guy that parked my car? Right, I think we've done an hour. Any more for any more?
Final score on Saturday night. I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham, I reckon.
I was going to say something very similar, but in my usual crafty tone, and I thought that Fulham would win by a single goal.
Yeah, they'll get gritty, they'll get nasty, and they'll break us both.
I'd like something else to happen, but tell me what's going to happen to the team. Don't tell me it's Frank's job to shout at them, because I think he's made his thoughts clear at this stage, because we can't win at home. And as you said, it's now like a club or Premier League record for the amount of losses incurred at home. But what's going to happen to the squad before this takes place? Nothing's going to happen.
They should all be sent off to various corners of the planet and never seen again.
Send them to Dubai. Then nobody can argue with it that you're being unkind, because it's all fabulous and he's lovely.
Yeah, if you love it, you'll love it. You'd be well in your element, son.
Especially with those teeth. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are the two amigos, and whenever there is injustice and Enoch, we will return. Tony, hope you make bail and are able to get out of North Norfolk in one piece.
Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed the young boys.
It's goodbye from Chris B. It's goodbye from all the young boys around the world, and it's goodbye from me.